Hello dear students, welcome back to my channel I Love Pharmacology. In today's session you are going to learn about a very important concept, that is the action of cholinergic agonist over action of anticholinergic drugs on the pupil. So let us see the examples first for individual drugs. So under muscarinic agonist you need to remember pilocarpine. Under muscarinic antagonist, you need to remember atropine. So let us see how these drugs have got opposite effect on the eye. So once you administer a drug in the form of eye drops into a normal or an untreated eye, so first we'll take pilocarpine. So once you administer pilocarpine eye drops, it produces meiosis. Means it produces constriction of the pupil by the contraction of the circular muscle fibers of iris. So you need to remember that in the iris you have got circular muscle fibers as well as the radial muscle fibers. If any drug which stimulates the circular muscle fibers will lead to constriction of the pupil. If any drug which stimulates the radial muscle fibers will lead to dilatation of the pupil. So the receptor which is present on the circular muscle fiber is M3, whereas the receptor present on the radial muscle fiber is alpha 1. So when you give pilocarpine, being a muscarinic agonist, it acts on the M3 receptor. It acts on the M3 receptor which is present on the circular muscle fibers, leading to the contraction of the circular muscle fibers. Thereby the pupil diameter will reduce. So this is called as meiosis. So at the same time, on the ciliary muscle we have got the muscarinic receptor. So administration of pilocarpine will also stimulate the M3 receptor which is present on the ciliary muscle fibers, leading to the contraction of ciliary muscle fibers and leads to spasm of accommodation. So what do you understand by spasm of accommodation? As you know, the lens is supported by the suspensory ligament. The suspensory ligament attaches the lens and the ciliary muscle. So it is a link between the lens and the ciliary muscle. So whenever the ciliary muscle contracts, so lens curvature will bulge towards the anterior chamber, mainly because of the contraction of ciliary muscle fibers. The suspensory ligament will become loose. The suspensory ligament will be tortuous, so thereby allowing the lens to bulge towards the anterior chamber, and also it reduces the focal length. So you need to remember two things when you administer pilocarpine. It acts on M3 receptors which is present on the circular muscle fibers, leading to the contraction of circular muscle fibers. It leads to meiosis, that is constriction of pupil. At the same time, activation of M3 receptors on the ciliary muscle fibers, it leads to spasm of accommodation, and it allows the lens to focus towards the near vision. So it helps in focusing the eye towards the near object. So whereas in case of atropine, once you administer atropine in the form of eye drops, it produces mydriasis. Here, when you give atropine, you know that atropine is a M3 receptor antagonist. So where is M3 receptors are located? On the ciliary muscle. So once you block the ciliary muscle activity, so there will be unopposed action of the radial muscle fibers. So whatever the endogenous catecholamines are there, they will activate the radial muscle fibers through the alpha 1 activation, leading to the contraction of radial muscle fibers. Finally, it causes dilatation of the pupil. So at the same time, it also blocks the M3 receptor activity on the ciliary muscle. So thereby it causes paralysis of the ciliary muscle and it leads to paralysis of accommodation. So this mechanism is called as cycloplegia. So here when you give atropine, the eyes are dilated and the lens is unable to focus towards the near object. So very important point which you should remember with respect to pilocarpine and atropine in terms of clinical application. So once you administer pilocarpine, it produces meiosis. So what happens to the iridocorneal angle? So the iridocorneal angle will widen because the iris muscle will approach towards each other, thereby the iridocorneal angle will widen. This allows the outflow of aqueous humor, leading to the easy drainage of the aqueous humor through the canal of Schell as well as the trabecular meshwork. So therefore, this pilocarpine can be used in the conditions where there is a increased intraocular pressure, in conditions like glaucoma where there will be increased aqueous humor production which leads to the increase in the intraocular pressure. So pilocarpine can be used in case of glaucoma, whereas remember, atropine should not be given in case of glaucoma. So atropine is a contraindication for use in glaucoma because once you give atropine, it produces mydriasis. So once mydriasis occurs, what happens to the iridocorneal angle? The iris will move towards the iridocorneal angle. So there will be crowding of the angle with the iris at the iridocorneal angle. Therefore, that angle will become narrow and it closes the aperture of the canal of Schell as well as trabecular meshwork, leading to decrease in the outflow. It blocks the aqueous humor outflow, so thereby leading to increase in the intraocular pressure. So if you use this in patient who are risk of glaucoma or the patient who had glaucoma earlier, it can precipitate glaucoma. So atropine is contraindicated in case of glaucoma. So this was about the class on differentiating the actions of pilocarpine and atropine on eye. If you find this video useful, please do subscribe to my channel. I love pharmacology, and do not forget to share and hit the like button and bell icon for more updates on pharmacology. Thank you.